With elections now approaching, the discussions of bribery and the possibility of vote buying has once again become a focal point. But despite these allegations, no one has successfully proven bribery, nor has anyone been prosecuted for such an offense. So, is there a legal framework that defines bribery and how it can be proven? That question was put to a panel at a media briefing at the Caribbean Anti-Corruption Conference being held at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort. The conference is being organized by the Commonwealth Caribbean Association of Integrity Commissions and Anti-Corruption Bodies, the CCAI-CACB. Addressing the question was Honorable Justice Perletta Lance, chairperson of the St. Kitts Integrity Commission.
Bribery, you ask for the definition. The act, I should say, does not define bribery. I do not know of any act in the country that defines bribery. Neither I know of any act that defines corruption. The Integrity in Public Life Act does not define corruption. So if we have not had any complaints of bribery or corruption made to us. So if we did, we would have had to probably go to the Interpretation Act for a definition or something like that, or to some case which had that question or issue before it. So that is one of the problems arising there. Now, we, as I've said, we have not had any complaints of bribery or corruption. Our legal framework, you would, as the Attorney General has said, needs to be strengthened, and that is, I think, a work in progress.
However, chairman of the CCAI-CACB, Canon Mark Kendall, said there is precedence of anti-bribery legislation that the Caribbean can learn from, using the Turks and Caicos Islands as an example.
Speaking about in the Turks and Caicos Islands, we have certain provisions. For example, we have political financing ordinance by which elections are governed. Reports have to be handed in. We know that treating is against the law with regard to elections. You cannot give somebody even a beer and say to that person, you have to vote for me. So I believe in the case of St. Kitts and Nevis, just having a view of the legislations that are available in the region would help you to craft your own in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Meanwhile, Attorney General Vincent Barron Jr. pointed out that in the absence of definitive laws against bribery, there is legislation that addresses treating, which is essentially providing gifts in exchange for votes.
That if convicted, you can either have to pay a fine or go to jail or be barred from participating in elective office for up to 7 years. We have the case out of Dominica quite recently that went all the way to the CCJ that has really set a sort of standard as to what in our region treating is, because there too there was no definition of bribery or treating as such. And so the whole conduct of elections, and I'm happy for the question because normally at the election cry, a lot of allegations of the spreading of inducements for people to vote. And that is a very major thing that needs to be dealt with in our jurisdiction.
The hybrid conference of the CCAI-CACB is being held at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort from May 23 to 27 under the theme Controlling Corruption. Preventative mechanisms work better than reactive measures. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
The leader of the People's Action Movement, Sean Richards, said poverty reduction will be a priority under a reformed team unity government. Speaking at the recent town hall meeting in East Bastille, Richards laid a few priority areas that PAM will be pursuing and placing on the agenda of a PAM-CCM team unity coalition.
We recognize that we need to reduce poverty in this country. We will reduce poverty by creating more opportunities for more people. I spoke to you last week in Molineux about information technology, about the digital economy, and we are intent on ensuring that the digital economy is fully developed so that more of our citizens can invest and work in that sector of our economy. We want to give support to small businesses, and we want to ensure that those who wish to expand and partake in the tourism sector, that likewise they get the opportunity to do so. We recognize at this point in time that we have issues with unemployment, and we are fully willing and able to tackle the issues of employment in this country. And how do we intend to do so? We will ensure that we provide funding and create an environment for small business development.
PAM is currently launching new candidates and holding town hall meetings in preparation for the upcoming general elections to be held soon. Glenn Barrett reporting for Skn Newsline.
When visiting St. Martin, you want clean, affordable accommodations. You need Midtown Motel in the heart of Phillipsburg, a place where you can relax, take a stroll on Great Bay Beach, and that provides you easy access to great shopping. Midtown Motel, located on Front Street, Phillipsburg, St. Martin. Call Midtown Motel at 721-542-0614 and book your stay today.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips. Nestled between evergreen mountains and the Caribbean Sea on the island of St. Kitts is the Mill House Guest House and Convention Center. With breathtaking views, a rugged, beautiful shoreline, and immaculate manicured gardens make this the perfect location for your holiday, event, or wedding. With a large convention center, apartments with balconies providing stunning views, and a secluded cottage for larger family groups or honeymooning couples looking for some privacy. We have something for everyone. Book your stay at www.millhouseskn.com or visit our Facebook page, the Mill House Guest House and Convention Center, an oasis of tranquility.
Dr. Terence Drew, leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, says a successful party at the polls will work towards resolving the poverty issues in the country. Dr. Drew was addressing a recent public meeting in Keys Village, constituency number 8. According to the SKNLP leader, a change in government is required in order for the country to move forward and achieve meaningful development.
We are going to make sure that we take our people out of poverty. A country of 50,000 people with $1.5 billion in reserve is enough money to lift everybody out of poverty. And we are going to do it by a number of important initiatives. And that is to make sure that those major projects that are to come to St. Kitts and Nevis, that you can have shares in them. And those shares can enrich you and enrich your family to come after you. That is how you're going to build wealth and get rid of poverty once and for all. You need a government that respects the principles of good governance. You need a government that believes in integrity in public life. You need a government that believes in transparency and openness. The people have said resoundingly that they don't want no more corruption and greed in public service. And that is why I'm saying to the people of Keys, to your comrades and the citizens who are listening to my voice, that the St. Nevis Labour Party is committed to eradicating corruption in government. We'll work hard on getting that done. Because all they have brought to you is corruption, greed, and a dysfunctional government.
According to Jude, the SKNLP will also implement a universal healthcare system for the Federation. Glenn Barth reporting for Skn Newsline.
Corruption is a serious crime that can undermine development in our societies. That was the view of Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Her Excellency, the Right Honourable Patricia Scotland QC. She was speaking Monday at the opening ceremony of the hybrid conference of the Commonwealth Caribbean Association of Integrity Commissions and Anti-Corruption Bodies at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort.
In developing countries, according to the United Nations Development Programme, funds lost to corruption are estimated to be 10 times the amount of official development assistance. Transparency International states that corruption costs the health sector $500 billion every year. That is more than the amount needed for worldwide universal health coverage. Every $100 million lost to corruption could fund full immunization of 4 million children or provide water connections for 250,000 households. So corruption is a serious crime that can undermine social and economic development in all our societies. No country, region, or community is immune.
Also addressing the opening ceremony was Canon Mark Kendall, chairperson of the Commonwealth Caribbean Association of Integrity Commissions and Anti-Corruption Bodies. He said the anti-corruption fight is lopsided.
Whereby I argue all the time that while an inordinate amount of time and resources are spent in enforcement, investigation, litigation, and asset recovery, that is in contrast to the little attention given to prevention. I am hopeful that with the focus on preventative mechanisms at this conference, the Caribbean can lead the way in placing more emphasis on societies conforming to the 8th, 9th, and 10th commandments. And in so doing, enabling resources to be used in the intended way to foster social development and to raise the standard of living in our countries.
Several sessions are being held at the conference over the next few days until May 27th, which is also beamed virtually for persons who register. The theme is Controlling Corruption, Preventative Mechanisms Work Better Than Reactive Measures. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
Online radio has never been this great. It's Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Tune into Voice of the Caribbean Radio for great Caribbean programs, news, entertainment, sports, and current affairs. Wake up each morning and be inspired with One Day at a Time with Kim Huey. Stay abreast with news across the Caribbean and internationally with the Caribbean News Hour, and be entertained with shows like Reggaeville, Caribbean Classics, and Jive Music Show. Visit our website, download our Android mobile app, or listen us on TuneIn Radio. There is so much more on Voice of the Caribbean Radio, reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Check website or app for program schedule.
Are you ready to create high-performing TV commercials?
Ready.
Ready. Ready.
Create and tell compelling stories. Reach your target audience. and build brand awareness? Our strategies and execution will provide for your desired outcome and clearly represent your brand. Visit us at www.MakeByOpen.com and get started on your creative video commercial today. Lights, camera, Open Interactive.
Auto Plus Car Wash, located on the College Street Gut, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Bring your car to Auto Plus Car Wash to remove water stains, wiper marks. Get your doors, roof panel cleaned, seat floor mats, buffing, headlights, and engine wash. You get quality service at the best price at Auto Plus Car Wash. They really care for your car. Call 765-5140 or visit them on the College Street Gut, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Auto Plus Car Wash, where the service is number one.
The pediatric Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines for children 5 to 11 years old have arrived in Trinidad. The cargo arrived via Amerijet at 6:44 a.m. on Monday. Minister of Health Terence Dialsing and Spain's ambassador to Trinidad and Tobago, Fernando Nogales, were on hand to receive the shipment. The Embassy of Spain says Spain is very proud to have been able to make this donation of 43,200 pediatric vaccines to the people of TNT. This donation makes Trinidad and Tobago the first country in the region to receive pediatric vaccines. The Ministry of Health says the shipment marks the 26th arrival of COVID-19 vaccines into this country.
Up first this evening, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has given notice that the mask mandate is coming back. This just days after the health minister implored Jamaicans to take personal responsibility because the COVID containment measures would not be re-implemented. Mr. Holness was speaking in St. James. The call for COVID containment measures to be re-implemented has been growing louder in recent weeks. On Friday, this declaration by Prime Minister Andrew Holness.
It is going to be a requirement shortly for all our citizens to return to wearing their masks.
Mr. Holness did not give a timeline or a case threshold. That would trigger the measure, but pointed to the recent jump in COVID cases and the subsequent declaration by the Ministry of Health that the country is experiencing the 5th wave of the virus. Health officials say the uptick in local cases started on April 20 and is being driven by the more contagious Omicron BA2 variant. This has had a major impact, particularly on schools, with more than 200 teachers and students now at home with the virus. As a result, a number of institutions have been forced to move classes back online. Additionally, on Thursday, Education Minister Favour Williams announced the reintroduction of mask mandates in school. There is also fear that if cases continue to increase, hospitals may again be overwhelmed with patients and fatalities.
We don't want to go back to that situation again. So I am urging all Jamaicans to act responsibly. Act responsibly. And we know what to do. Let me repeat. If you haven't yet gotten your vaccine sites are still open and vaccination is ongoing. Please get vaccinated. wear your mask.
He suggests that while masks are not mandatory now, if the current trend continues, the government will re-implement the measure. Other COVID prevention guidelines are also being considered.
In Jamaica, we don't pay much attention to personal space. It is not our culture. So everybody rub up on everybody, right? But personal space is you maintain a decent distance from each other. Certainly when we are having these waves and these spikes, you would want to have a little more space and distance. So if you're seeing, more than a certain number, let's say 10 persons gathered, you would want to be careful how you go within crowds. If you're in public transportation where social distancing may not be possible, ensure that you wear your mask, carry your hand sanitizer with you.
Earlier this week, the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, also called on Caribbean leaders to consider re-implementing the measures to prevent another COVID crisis.
Scientists and health agencies are trying to understand why monkeypox is suddenly spreading more widely than ever before.
It's been well studied in the African region. We've seen a few cases in Europe over the last 5 years, just in travelers, but this is the first time we're seeing cases across many countries at the same time in people who have not traveled to the endemic regions in Africa.
Endemic in parts of Central and West Africa, in the past it was generally confined to isolated cases outside that region. Now, with evidence of community transmission via close bodily contact across many countries, they'll be investigating whether the virus has become more transmissible.
The question is whether it will develop like previous monkeypox outbreaks. We must take into consideration that the way the virus spreads could mean it changed, so we must react quickly and decisively now to contain a global outbreak.
The symptoms are generally mild, if unsightly, and often clear up on their own, but there are higher risk groups among the young and immunocompromised. So the European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control is warning member states to gear up for possible vaccine distribution, using remaining supplies of the vaccine that helped eradicate smallpox in the 1980s. Beyond concern, however, no one is signalling alarm.
For the broader population, the likelihood of spread is very low. However, the likelihood of further spread of the virus through close contact, for example, during sexual activities among persons with multiple sexual partners, is considered to be high.
In a world still racked by the COVID-19 pandemic, societies have an advanced understanding of viral spread and protection. Testing, contact tracing, self-isolation and basic hygiene are household concepts. So containing a disease like monkeypox should be relatively easy. Jonah Hull, Al Jazeera.
Sandy Point FC registered a 5-0 victory over Connery Fireballs International on Saturday in a rescheduled SKNFA Division 1 match at the Warner Park. Dejani Fai scored 2 goals for Sandy Point in the 22nd and 45th minute. Shaquan Pemberton also scoring 2 goals, this time in the 78th and 80th minutes, and Deacon Liddy scoring in the 85th minute. After the match, Sandy Point captain Elzandai Warner credits the togetherness of the team for the good run of results they have been enjoying of late.
Staying focused. For us, that's just the thing, staying focused. We can't get ahead of ourselves, so it's just about keeping the vision and at the end of the day, getting the results. We keep talking to each other, keep reminding each other that you can get in there first and then lose, but at the end of the day, you just got to keep the vision. I always remember anything can happen in football, and we just keep reminding them of that.
Meanwhile, Joshua Liber, the player with Connery, highlighted the need to improve their defending if they are to have a chance to qualify for the Division 1 Final 4 playoffs.
What we was just discussing before we depart from each other is that we know we have 3 more games to go to end up in the Final 4. former games to be exact. Winning at least 3 would put us in the 4, and I guess we could prepare ourselves from there, moving onwards to see if we can reach the goal. Well, we definitely have a defensive issue right now because most of our defenders then they're out and who's not injured. So it's like we're playing with a defensive with like 45%. We can basically say in each of our last couple of games, and yeah, it's really, really critical. So in the next upcoming game, we may have to play some midfielders in the defense to try and hold out for the rest of the season.
Division 1 football continues this Tuesday at the Kim Collins Stadium.
Welcome to the Skn Newsline Weather Report. I am Janil Boone. Here is a look at the forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. For a more detailed weather report, visit our website at www.sknnewsline.com.